the meeting.
I am calling the meeting to order
Right.
right now. Thank you. Roll call, please, Laura.
Commissioner Bainan,
Present.
Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo,
Here.
Commissioner Grossman,
Present.
Commissioner Connolly,
Present.
Commissioner Lindsay,
Present.
Commissioner Zapata. Oh, did Zapata disappear?
No, she's here, but thank you.
Muted.
Oh, hello. She's muted. Okay, well, she's here in present, so the marker's present. Oh,
There she is.
Commissioner Zapata, can you see? Oh,
Sorry.
you're
Yeah.
good. Taking roll call, you're here.
Yeah.
And Chair Dostie.
Here. Thank you, Laura. Moving on to item 2, approval of minutes. Do I have any amendments or a motion to approve the minutes as is?
So move.
Okay, is that a second, Commissioner Lindsay?
No, I actually had, under item 6.1 in the minutes, I just wrote a little note about it, so I'm not actually looking at the minutes at the moment, but under item 6.1, oh yeah, on tax exemptions, it said that we wanted to just do public outreach. Do you see that, Laura? Under
Not
item
fully.
6.1, I don't have them in front of me, but I have a note about it. It said on tax exemptions that we want to do public outreach. Do you see that?
I'm not looking at it right now. I'm taking
Okay,
note of what you're saying.
But that's not just what we wanted to do, not just public outreach.
Okay.
We want to do work on the tax exemption program in general, not just public outreach.
Okay.
So I think that was borrowing language from the old work plan, probably.
Yeah, it's whatever was, I just noticed that in the minutes. Well, wait a minute, that's not right. So that was it. That's the only thing I saw.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Grossman, do you accept that amendment?
Sure.
Okay.
And
Can I
then
have a
I'll second. I'll second.
All right. Call, please, Laura, for approval of the minutes.
Commissioner Bainan,
Yes.
Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo.
Abstain.
Commissioner Grossman,
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsay,
Yes.
Commissioner Zapata,
Yes.
Chair Dostie.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Item 3 is public comment. Public will have 3 minutes each. If folks are interested in public comment, please raise your hand now so that we don't close it without realizing that you would like to speak. Laura, if you would admit the first, please.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to, I don't need 3 minutes. I just wanted to ask, I'm not sure if it was going to be automatically included, but I was wondering if at some point you're going to talk about your recommendations for the American Rescue Plan Act funds that the City Council is talking about. I don't know if you were going to include that in your work plan discussion or whatever, but I think it's so critical that SEJC take it on, because I was at the council meeting last night and I'm feeling discouraged right now about what the city is going to do with it. It's a lot of money and we could really have a huge impact by using these funds in a way that actually looks at social justice in Albany. So that was my request or question. Thank you.
Your next commenter, please, Laura.
Hi, this is Margie Marks. I just wanted to announce that Albany has opened up the swimming pool. So DOG, the Diverse House Working Group, will be starting the showers very soon. We had some issues with the laundry program, but we will be starting a laundry program very soon. I just wanted to let people know that. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other hand, if any last minute hands, giving 3, 2, 1, and closing public comment. Next is number 4, announcements. Announcements
Are we allowed
from,
to comment on public comment, or?
you can.
Okay.
Brief
yes.
response. We can't take it up as a full discussion, but a brief response.
Sure, yeah. So regarding the laundry and shower program, for over a month now, I've been in emails with Albany Library, Albany swimming pool staff. And I've been starting a shower program there as well. I have a new and improved shower program going on with that. And also the laundry program. I've taken over the laundry program for the past 3 weeks. So I'm taking over the laundry program. So, yep.
Okay, thank you for your perspective on that, Commissioner Garapinguela. Number 4 is announcements. We'll start with commissioner announcements. Seeing Commissioner Grossman, and then I believe Zapata, maybe, yes, and then Lindsay.
Okay. So I think everyone knows, but I wanted to put it on the record that the council last night accepted what was called the final draft of the Equity Impact Plan. And I just wanted to just make a few comments about that. It was a report that made reference to the role of SEJC, but there was a lot wrong with what it said. For example, it mentioned that SEJC had adopted the equity impact statement, which is included. In fact, SEJC never saw that. SEJC never saw this final report, which lists the members of SEJC. There's a lot missing from the report, including, we had a good discussion last night, including information about the racist history of Albany, which seems very relevant to an impact report. I'm very concerned that this has been accepted by the council with no clarity about what's supposed to happen next, with no input from the current SEJC or any involvement from the current SEJC. It appears that the consultants are done, or maybe not, that's unclear. And I don't know who is supposed to follow up in terms of completing this document and in terms of enacting the suggestions that are included. So I just wanted to go on record expressing concern about that, and concern that this seems to be closing a book which hasn't even been read. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Commissioner Zapata.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Grossman, for bringing that up. I also wanted to bring up the presentation that took place last night from Nicole Anderson Consulting. And I think it's absolutely critical that this come to SEJC. I mean, and the report is absolutely filled with references to the work of SEJC, and yet we didn't even see the final. We haven't seen the final report. We somehow gave input at the last meeting, and to me, I was really unclear of what we were doing actually last meeting. But with the final report, there's actually, as Commissioner Grossman said, there is actually an equity statement, which is absolutely critical that we take some time to look at. And, you know, I've been wanting to share this for a while, but it's what Bart's talking about in terms of the city of Albany facing its history is really, really important. And I'm going to share my screen very briefly to show this document, which is the city of Albany. I just want everyone to see. Name of city, city of Albany. Favorable influences. Schools and shopping center conveniently available. Transportation facilities excellent. Low local taxes. Strong community sentiment against infiltration of Negroes. None in city. This is the history of Albany. Detrimental influences. In 1932, racial restrictions expired. Infiltration of undesirables a possibility. And by the way, right here under inhabitants, D, Negro, none, no. So this is the kind of history that we have to be eliciting, bringing up, facing, and then making some decisions around as a community. And so I really feel like if we're not careful, that presentation that took place last night was accepted. It was voted on as accepted, and it could quite easily disappear into the ether. So a document like you all just saw requires a lot of unpacking, facing, work, reconciliation, reckoning, and not just sort of, we plan to be equitable, but we have to face that and do something about it.
Yeah, well said. Commissioner Lindsay, I saw your hand next, and then Commissioner Garapinguela.
Yeah, I was glad overall that it was accepted, but also have the same concern, particularly about now it's going to sit on a shelf and gather dust, and spoke to a council member about that. And they said that when they used to be an advocate, they found that that's often what happens, is that some plan is passed, and then unless people press it, unless there's external influences to press it, or somebody on the council who's championing it, then it will sit and gather dust. So we should expect that we're going to have to, we're nowhere near done. We're just at the very beginning on it. But there was some good stuff in there. Certainly the historical part, which is really, really important because it sets context and environment, needs to be, well, I'll just second what Karen said. The other thing that I wanted to say that's a different subject is just to let people know that the council has now a format that it wants when we give them recommendations. And what we did with the survey, once we found that out, we reformatted the survey subcommittee. We reformatted it in the format that the council wants, and then we sent it to them. And so you can get that format from Laura. I have a copy of it too. You could get it from me. And if somebody wants some help putting it in that format, I'll help them. Something they want to propose, but we should try to do it in that format. It just will make everything smoother if we can. I don't know if that makes sense to people. It's basically just a, you could think of it as a housekeeping task that will move things along a lot smoother when we send a recommendation off. So that's the only announcement I had.
That's helpful. I didn't know there was a template. Thank you. Commissioner Garapinguela.
Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Just want to
You're
remind
very
everybody.
faint. If you could move closer to the mic, maybe.
Hi, good evening, everybody. This is Jeremiah. How's everybody doing?
You have some
Good.
announcements.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad everybody's doing well. So, yeah, I've got a lot of announcements to make here. So, see where to start. I could start with the laundry program. So what happened was last month, I guess the old laundry program didn't get the money they wanted. They couldn't sign a contract or something. They're afraid of getting sued. Rochelle Nason in a meeting mentioned that what if homeless people get into a fight and sue the nonprofit dog or the city of Albany? And the nonprofit got scared and they don't want to lose their house. So it was announced that, Margie was going on vacation. The program's going to be put on pause till further notice. So I stepped up to the plate and I told everybody, come back next Thursday, same time, same place, same bat channel, and I'm going to keep the laundry program going. I stepped up to the plate, and as if homeless people don't have it bad enough. The last thing they need is for people to give up on them or put things on pause. So
I'm going to have to ask you to
what's great
be
about this,
more specifically
donation
announcing
from-
things.
Hello.
I need you to be more specifically announcing things.
Yeah, hello.
Commissioner
So
Garapinguela.
I'm trying to talk if I cannot be interrupted, please. So
I'm trying to keep you on task, and you need to
Excuse me.
keep these to being announcements. Understood?
okay. So the laundry program has been going so very well so far. Daniel Winkler Real Estate has generously donated $100 and is in full support of me keeping this going. Also, Anthony Freeman Insurance generously donated $200 to keep this program going, which is very nice. Thank you. Also, I Slice Pizza donates a large cheese pizza every Thursday. Also, Domino's Pizza has donated pizzas twice. And also a big shout out and thank you to Hal's office for donating pastries for every laundry program on Thursdays. And also Kuwana Associates, which is Aloha, an artist, has donated $100 to keep the laundry program going. Let's see here. Also, yeah, so announcements also, shower program. I've been in the works with Albany Aquatic Center with the shower program since it's the Albany School Board, since I was appointed to this commission by the Albany School Board. I've been emailing that sort of situation, and the shower program that I'm starting is open during normal business hours. So that's all day long. Homeless people could take a shower every day if they want to, twice a day if they want to, please. So that's already prepaid, $300 prepaid. So when homeless person shows up, they say, I'm on Jeremiah's shower list, and there you go. They just get checked off the list. It's already prepaid. Requires no volunteers, doesn't have to be a big deal. And it's just every day. Homeless people could shower 2 or 3 times a day if they want. Also, yeah, so the laundry program that I started is every Thursday, and it's open to everybody. I guess the new laundry program is going to reopen, I guess someone said, but that's only going to be by invitation only. You have to have a cell phone, and it's every other week, which I don't know if that's a good idea for social justice because a lot of homeless people don't have cell phones. So I'm not sure if that would work out. So I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for people. Also, I've got a volunteer coming in for the laundry program that's working off 20 hours of court community service. So I got, there's been so many volunteers. It's been so wonderful. Also, announcement at the Albany Library. There's a hand wash station and a porta potty. And I'm not sure what the recreation or the city staff is doing. It kind of seems like a passive aggressive way to deal with the homeless. We have a gentleman camped there, and I got an email from city staff 2 weeks ago saying that the hand wash station and the porta potty were cleaned and everything's taken care of. I went out there and inspected it. It's false information. The hand wash station is still dry. The porta potty is overflowing. And inside on the door, you could tell that it's never been serviced because there's a service sticker and nobody fills that out. It's a great resource for homeless people, a hand wash station. So I've got a presenter tonight. Hopefully you guys can see it on the list to offer a new hand wash station service. Also, the passive aggressive way that the city staff and library had put planter boxes where the gentleman had been camping. So they put so many planter boxes out there, so he couldn't set up a tent. It's kind of a passive aggressive way to deal with homeless. Also, Committee on South African Solidarity called COSAS in Berkeley. It's Committee for South African Solidarity. And they are wondering if anybody wants to volunteer. They have a banquet coming up and some really good services. Also, Lifelong Medical, this lady M Law is associated with Lifelong Medical, and they do a street team. So they're willing to come to Albany to help out with any homeless services, COVID vaccines, kind of a call as you need. So Lifelong Medical, I could email our liaison M's phone number with Lifelong, and she's willing to help out, you know, crisis situations, any sort of thing Albany needs. Also, the Giltrack Farm has a wonderful, let's see, it's like a food giveaway, a it's a public market every Sunday. I believe it's from like 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, somewhere around there. So we do have a community gardens in Albany, and it's a very wonderful place. If nobody's been there, I suggest you go. It's a very good place. Also, I have oh yes. There are some people camping behind Sprouts. I think that they deserve housing. And also there's a guy named Professor who sits on Key Route and makes sculptures all day. And I go by and bring him orange juice. I go by and give him food every day or every other day. And I really wish that Albany or cares, if Albany does care, if something would take action in the moment and do something with the homeless people in Albany. So I think that's all for my announcements right now.
Okay, thank you, Jeremiah. Commissioner Garrett-Pinguillo. I have two announcements. One is that is a correction that DOG is not a nonprofit. It is a group of volunteers who are considering becoming a nonprofit. They have been running the laundry program and shower program, laundry program since COVID started. The shower program for a few years beforehand, it was shut down when the aquatic center was shut down with COVID. And they have been building up capacity in an attempt to keep it able to keep going and not have to stop suddenly from running out of funding. So, and my other announcement is that this Saturday, there's a Reimagined Safety Community Celebration and Caravan in Oakland through the Justice Teams Network and a couple other community organizations. There's a caravan from Lake Merritt to Lowell Park, and then an outdoor community celebration celebrating the work that Oakland specifically, but also the Bay Area, the East Bay in general, has been making in campaigning for reimagining public safety. Laura, are there any staff announcements? Okay. Any other last minute announcements? Commissioner Lindsay? Are you muted?
Just a question, which is DOG is is that the Diverse Housing Working Group, DHWG? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
it's pronounced dog, but spelled DHWG.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I see that we have public comment on announcements, which is a thing that we can have. So I'll take that public commenter. Laura, please. We'll limit it to 2 minutes, just because we're not very far on the agenda. Go ahead.
No, it's very short. The hand sanitation, whatever's set up, and the porta potty are gone from the community, the Albany Community Center parking lot. That's all.
Thank you for that update. Okay.
Really?
That concludes number 4. Number 5, presentations. We have an Albany Cares presentation tonight from Program Director Anne-Marie Heineman. Laura, if you would bring Anne-Marie in.
She's here.
Into being a panelist, right? Hello.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So thank you for letting me present tonight. This is the 2020 annual report. Thanks, Laura, that I'm going to be giving. I know it's pretty late in the year, but things have gotten pushed back a little bit, I think, for presenting. So I'm presenting on our last year, the pandemic year. And I've got some numbers up here also from 2019, just for comparison. So we had a drop-in. Our drop-in center was open during the first quarter last year, just until mid-March. And so we had a lot of drop-ins in that quarter. Of course, that was it for the year. After that, we had to close down the drop-in center, and everything was done by email and phone. So you can see the first quarter, 308 was a lot of contacts we had in the first quarter. And then in the second quarter, basically everything went to email and phone, and those numbers doubled. And you can see the numbers kind of fell off as the year went on. But in comparison to 2019, we had quite a lot more contacts. We had 911 versus 839 in 2019. So what we lost in with having the drop-in center, we seem to have gained with the information line, etc. And then in terms of numbers of actual clients, referred to as unduplicated drop-ins. So just counting each client one time, no matter how many times we had contact with them. We had a total of 323 clients versus 257 from the year before. So we really, we had a lot of new people contact us that we hadn't ever spoken with before. Of course, mainly by email and phone. The unduplicated contacts that were not drop-in tripled. So 280 of those versus 95 the year before. And then next page, Laura, thanks. Demographics. So I didn't get as much demographic information as I had in the past, because when we had the drop-in center, we had clients fill out a form themselves, giving whatever information they wanted to share. But when people emailed or on the phone, I didn't tend to ask them for this information. You know, sometimes it was a part of what we were discussing, but and I would try to get their what town they lived in. But in terms of their age and ethnicity, I often was not asking for that information. But you can see in terms of age, we had a majority of folks who were in the 62 to 79-year-old age. So a lot of older people, which is not unusual. It has been that way before this year as well. And ethnicity of the people who shared their ethnicity, 86 European American, and then 38, 37 African American, Asian American, and then numbers down from that. City of residence, a big majority were Albany, so 229 of the, I think it's 323 is the total unduplicated contacts. So 229 of those were Albany residents. 26 from Berkeley, and then, you know, some numbers from surrounding towns. Sometimes, of course, we talk to people who live out of state or out of the county, but they're calling about a family member or someone they're close to who does live in the area. And then in terms of housing situation, pretty evenly divided between people who own their home and renters, and a lot of homeless people. And that was a big increase from the prior year. I think in 2019, of the people who shared that information, I think there were about 47 homeless folks who we had contact with. And then 2020, it went up to 73. So that was a noticeable increase. Thanks, Laura. So in terms of why folks contacted us, the main issue that we were contacted about was people trying to find affordable housing. And that has been the case in the past as well. That does not include people who were having problems paying their rent or having issues in terms of, you know, with their landlord, et cetera. It's just people who were looking for affordable housing and had questions about how the process works and how to apply for housing, et cetera. And then the next issue that the greatest number of people contacted us about were financial issues. So in there, I put people who needed rental assistance, people who needed help paying utility bills, people who were struggling with getting their unemployment checks or having difficulty, getting their public benefits, and then also the parcel tax exemptions, which I'm going to talk about a little bit after the annual report. And then after that, got quite a few contacts from people either wanting to make donations or with concerns about things going on in the community, wanting to report about someone they'd seen who needed help, or people who were homeless. And then, small numbers of the other issues, healthcare issues and people needing home care. Then in terms of how people heard about the CARES program, a lot of it was through the information hotline, which was basically, it was a senior center staff that when the senior center closed, that became our information hotline, and they were doing a lot of essential services through that office. And they were taking care of the Meals on Wheels and the Mercy Brown bags, et cetera. But they were also referring people to me for anything beyond that. And then, especially before the pandemic started, lots of referrals from the Albany Senior Center. And of course, still some people calling the Senior Center during the pandemic and getting a referral. I also got quite a few referrals from other city departments. The police refer people to me, and people sometimes find the information on our website. And I was really pleased that there were so many people who found out about it from friends and family and neighbors, because I feel like the word is kind of starting to get out. We did have quite a bit of, we had flyers posted, et cetera, with the info line phone number and my phone number. And not that many people reported that was how they got the phone number, but sometimes people don't even remember where they saw the number. So I think that was also helpful. In terms of the assistance we provided, pretty evenly divided between people who ended up needing a referral, or people who just called to talk, for advice, to get information. And then of the people who needed referrals, 46 of those needed more than just a phone number or an email with with referral information and the website information. Sometimes they needed help contacting another agency. There are folks who needed help filling out paperwork, and sometimes a little bit of research to find answers to different questions. So that kind of covers most of the assistance. And then the last thing is referrals. So the majority of the referrals were to Albany Project Hope, which is our homeless outreach program that's through Berkeley Food and Housing Project. So we referred 32 people to Albany Project Hope, and 31 people were referred to really a variety of different places. We refer folks to for information about affordable housing and the different lists that are out there and the different companies that they can make applications to. And then, quite a lot of people, 25 people who needed some kind of housing counseling or assistance, information, sometimes legal information about their rights as a tenant, or sometimes their rights as a landlord. And those folks we refer to Echo Housing, the Rental Assistance Program, Alameda County Housing Renew, and a few other places. And then, small numbers divided among the other referrals, legal resources, food programs. I actually made 8 referrals for Adult Protective Services, which is quite a lot of mainly older people who were needing that kind of assistance. And so that is that sums up the numbers and what we did over 2020. And then I just want to bring you up to date on the parcel tax exemption stuff, since that just ended in June, and I know it was mentioned earlier. So we did quite a bit of outreach to Albany residents about the parcel tax exemptions, both homeowners and renters. First of all, the city sent postcards out to, as far as I know, every household. We did outreach through the Meals on Wheels delivery and the Mercy Brown Bags delivery. So we put the postcards or a flyer in with that information also. I did a webinar in the beginning of May, and I think about 16 people came to that. And I sent out 114 emails to different Albany folks whose email I had, and made about 36 phone calls with some help from some of my volunteers. And the outcome is we spoke directly with about 100 residents about the parcel tax exemptions. I don't know exactly how many people ended up applying, but at least 37 of the people that I spoke with were planning on applying, were in the process of filling out or had already filled out the applications. With the help of the senior center, we delivered and we hand delivered and we mailed documentations and information to 35 residents. And I actually filled out forms for probably about 5 people. I was able to online, I can look and see whether a homeowner, not by name, but by address, whether a person is already getting the senior homeowner exemption that's through the Albany Unified School District. So that was really helpful because a lot of homeowners, senior homeowners, don't remember if they've already been approved for this exemption. It's been going on over 10 years. And if they're getting the exemption, they don't see anything on their parcel tax bill, their property tax bill. So a lot of folks don't even know if they need to apply for that or if they're already getting it. So it was really helpful that I could look people up online and find out. And of the 104 Albany homeowners that I'm aware of who are over the age of 65, it turns out that 62 of those were already getting the homeowner exemption through the Unified School District, and 42 were not yet getting it. So we really did some extra outreach to those seniors to try to help them make that application. That's $1,000 a year. So it's significant for people who are on a fixed income. And I think that is pretty much it.
Thank you for that presentation, and thank you for your hard work. And I see hands already, and I also have a few questions. I think the first thing, and I do want to ask my question first, and I think it might address some others, is how many hours do you work? You're not a full-time position, correct?
No, I'm limited. I have to keep it under 30 hours.
Right.
So,
and you said you have volunteers.
I do.
Okay. And that's through the city?
You know, the volunteers were mainly already part of the program before I came on. Okay. And I don't know exactly how the prior program director found the volunteers. And they were part of the drop-in center. And when we reopen, they will be again. So they would meet with people in person and help staff the drop-in center. During the pandemic, it was much harder for me to make use of the volunteers since so much was phone calls and emails. Sometimes they would help with returning phone calls, or clients who really needed a lot of a lot of interaction. We have clients who were used to coming into the drop-in center twice a week, who, were isolated and lonely during the pandemic. And some of my volunteers were making regular phone calls to folks. But some of the volunteers did help with the phone calls for the parcel tax exemptions. They helped last year too. It's complicated. And so only a few volunteers were willing to do those phone calls, but that was really helpful. And they could direct people to me if people had questions.
Okay. And you said you have to keep it under 30 hours a week. Is that easy to do? Is that very hard to do?
There's always more work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So my sense is that you could work 40 hours a week and you could have a second person working 40 hours a week and you would both be busy the whole time. Would you say that's accurate?
Honestly, I think if I had more time, I could do a lot more outreach, because I think there are a lot of communities out there that don't know about the CARES program, or they're not likely to reach out. I think that there's a significant Chinese speaking population in Albany that I would like to do outreach to, with help from, Chinese speaking staff or volunteers. So I think we could drum up a lot more business. I'm able to respond to everybody who contacts us, but sometimes it can take me a little time to get back to folks. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say you gave additional assistance to 46 people with contacting agencies, paperwork, and research? Would you do more if you had more time, or was that how many needed that?
There's more. I could do more.
Okay.
Individuals. Yeah.
Yeah. And the 18 that you were unable to assist, would you be able to if you had more time, or is that?
No, I think that there are just always some people who there's nothing I can find that's going to be of assistance to them, or the things that I can refer them to are things that they don't want. There are problems that we just can't solve. Yeah.
Those are my questions. Zoom tells me the order that people raised hands, and I see Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo was first.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So where do I begin with this Albany Cares homeless housing situation? What's been happening since January, Albany Cares came out, picked up 20 homeless people on Albany's welcome mat. And that's great. What happened was all those people got housed at the Travel Lodge. And the Travel Lodge charged $4,000 a month per person. And that's out of control. I talked to the hotel manager, and he said that I asked him if Albany Cares is getting a weekly rate or a monthly rate or any discount. He said, absolutely not. I'm getting my money. Okay. Well, I just think if we're going to be housing these people, there could be some checks and balances on what hotels use and the money spent. Now, that money got spent so quickly.
Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo.
Only
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
In order to respect our presenters' time, please confine it to questions.
And they're homeless again. So why are these people homeless again 3 months later? Why was the money spent so fast? Was there another hotel available that had a different discounted rate? That could be something to look into. I've called Albany Cares for the past couple weeks. So why has the person behind Sprouts, the women, not got housing? Because actually I just got a phone call 5 minutes ago. I had to step out of this meeting and call Albany police because this lady was just attacked by a guy and he poured gasoline on himself and is setting himself on fire. So Albany police are down there right now behind Sprouts to take care of the situation. So why is this lady not getting housed when it's an emergency situation? So I'm just wondering what's really going on, especially with the money. And there's something called the Albany House, I guess, through Albany Cares. What city is the Albany House in? What county is the Albany House in? I would really like to know that because I believe the Albany House is in Richmond and in Contra Costa County. Why isn't the Albany House in Albany? It's kind of interesting. So why does the Albany Cares not get affiliated with City of Albany has a garbage bill thing that the city pays every year for residents that don't pay their garbage bill. It's put on the city. So maybe that could be referred to Albany Cares. You can probably contact city staff. It was in the city council meeting last night, agenda 9 or something. So maybe that could be taken through Albany Cares, right? So also, how can I volunteer for Albany Cares? Because it kind of like, I already kind of do. And it would be great if I could volunteer for Albany Cares, or if Albany Cares opened up a way for new volunteers to come on board. So I'd like to work with Albany Cares and volunteer if that's possible, because I know a lot about what's going on in Albany, and I think I'd be really helpful in this situation. Maybe why is it that Albany Cares is not affiliated with the laundry program or the shower program? You know, why is no money being put into that from Albany Cares? The laundry program, the shower program is put on your average citizens to take care of the homeless situation. You know, why doesn't Albany Cares have a shower program or a laundry program for the homeless? Why is the professor still sitting on Key Route in Solano making sculptures and doesn't have a place to stay? So it's July 1st. Hopefully the city got some more money and could do something about this. I really wish, I'm trying to phrase things in questions. So I just, why is it that Albany Cares works 30 hours a week, but I'm not sure really what's going on with the homeless situation. So yeah, so basically I just want answered, where is this Albany House at? What county is it in? And also, how do I and other people become volunteers with Albany Cares? Thank you.
Okay, and I think I can pick more questions out of that, but we'll start with those two.
So first of all, Albany Cares is not the same as a homeless outreach program. I refer people to the homeless outreach program. We call it Albany Project Hope, and it's part of Berkeley Food and Housing Project. I'm not part of that program. It's a separate program funded separately. I do refer people to Albany Project Hope if someone is homeless. And Albany Project Hope is the one that helps people with housing, puts them in hotels, etc. It's out of my purview. All I do is refer folks to them, and sometimes I have follow-up with those clients, and sometimes we work together, but I don't have anything to do with where they're housed or how much is paid, so I can't speak to any of that. We have case conferences on a monthly basis. And Albany Project Hub takes referrals also from the police department and other city departments. We do have people involved now from, we have a person who's a regional representative, I think, for homeless services, I think for the county, and someone who works with Lifelong and is part of that street outreach team, which I think was referred to earlier. So there is some more collaboration going on there. But that's all I can really speak to about the housing of homeless people, etc. And if someone is interested in volunteering.
Well, where's the Albany House at?
I'm sorry? The Albany House? I think.
Yeah, where is that?
I think there is a house that has been master leased by Berkeley Food and Housing, where they've been putting 4 people up, and I think that is in Richmond.
But that is not CARES again.
It's not, no, it's not my program. I'm not involved in it, but I know about the house, yeah.
And then volunteering, you were going to say.
Volunteering. If someone's interested in volunteering, then they should contact me. And I'm happy to talk to folks about volunteering. There's a lot of different skills that we need. And yeah, anyone who's interested in volunteering, please contact me.
And then I think the garbage bill being paid by the city program, and now the laundry program is new and the shower program is resuming. Those are the sorts of things that CARES would refer people to. Is that right?
Definitely refer people. Well, the garbage bill thing, all I know about that is that I've been asked to reach out to folks who have a large bill to see if, you know, there's something that we can do to help them. And I've done that a couple of years now. I do work closely with the shower program. Actually, there's a lot of overlap between my volunteers, the volunteers with Albany Cares, and the volunteers with the shower program and the laundry program. But the center was open on Wednesdays and Fridays, so it was a little bit hard for me to get to the shower program, which was on Fridays, right around the time that we were closing up. But when I could, I would go to the shower program and try to, you know, make connections with some of the clients there and the people who work there. So yeah, I definitely work closely with them. I've gotten referrals for people from the shower program, usually through the volunteers, because that's who runs the shower program.
Okay. And then in order, I see Commissioner Grossman, Zapata, Bainan, and Lindsay. You're still muted.
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple of questions, but I just want to take a moment because I wrote the original proposal that became Albany Cares. So I just wanted to explain that the purpose of Albany Cares was not housing. It was it was a recognition that there were no services in Albany except for the senior center, and that there needed to be a place for people to at least get outreach information, to get information about what's available, because there are things that are available. For example, mental health services are available, but nobody knows, very few people know how to access them. So the purpose was referral and information, and help directly where it's possible. But you know, but it wasn't to take care of all the problems. Hopefully it would, one of the roles would be uncovering needs that were going unmet in the city by having people come to the drop-in center. So in terms of questions, I'm glad to see that numbers are increasing. It's kind of hard to compare anything to last year. But it does seem that numbers have been increasing. But one of the things I was concerned about from the beginning is the close association with the senior center would result in it being primarily be used by seniors. And it seems like we haven't quite broken out of that mold. There are other people coming in, but your comment about needing more time to do outreach seems very apropos. What can we do to get this message out to other people in the community that this is not just a senior program? And to what extent is that message being sent directly or unintentionally by the senior center? So, yeah, any thoughts about that?
I think it's a very good point. I was located right next door to the senior center. Often people would come in and say, you know, I don't know if this is for me or not because I'm not a senior. So I think it's a real concern. I think though that there's a greater need possibly among seniors in Albany for this kind of assistance than there is maybe among the younger population. I have done quite a bit of outreach at the schools, and I've gotten referrals from the schools, referrals of families, and certainly we've had, you know, people coming in who aren't seniors. But it's true. A large number of the people who have been coming into us are, and I think it's probably just maybe more advertising, maybe some outreach at specific places outside of the schools. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some other commissioners have ideas of how to outreach more to younger population.
Okay. I suspect, by the way, that you may see more younger people and student referrals from the schools because whatever money that the schools were getting from the Mental Health Services Act through Berkeley is now going to go away. I don't think people are aware that that funding was in an innovative grant from Berkeley. And that will be there because Berkeley, we're not part of Berkeley Mental Health anymore, but we'll talk about that more later. Another thing I was concerned about is it was mentioned in the mental health presentation that the county has these mental health outreach teams. Do you know, do they come to Albany? And if they do they work with you at all? Because they mentioned, the person last night indicated that there was no connection.
So there's
last night, the 21st, I'm sorry.
So I mentioned a street outreach team that's through Lifelong Medical Care. That is for people who are living on the streets. And that's a relatively new thing that's started up, I think, within the past year. It started in more southern areas of Alameda County and just fairly recently moved up to our area. In terms of mental health services, I mean, we were working pretty closely with Berkeley Mental Health, and there was actually a counselor from Berkeley Mental Health who would come to the drop-in center twice a month, which was fantastic. I still do refer people in crisis to Berkeley Mental Health, but we're transitioning to working more closely with county mental health services. And we've always worked with the county crisis line. That's always been a service that we use and we refer people to. I don't know if we'll have that, if we'll be able to have that close relationship with Alameda County Mental Health, if we'll be able to get someone to come to the drop-in center at times. I'm not sure yet. We're still kind of working out. It's still very much in the process of working out the connections. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, it does, to the extent you can answer it, because it is early. But on the other hand, I am concerned that with Alameda County being so far away and so focused on Oakland, that Albany's going to get less attention even than it was getting before, which wasn't much.
We'll have to make lots of noise.
We will.
Have to just do a, advocate for residents who need those services.
Yeah. Thank you.
I also wanted to mention, in terms of outreach, we had a pretty active information stand at the library, where I was putting, information partly, for people who were homeless, about, the information that came from the city of Berkeley about food resources, et cetera, but also things that seemed relevant or important, places that were taking applications for subsidized housing, et cetera. And, when the library was closed, of course, we weren't putting in any information there, but now that the library is opening back up again, we can continue to do more outreach there. And we've done presentations for the library staff and, of course, community center staff, and we were getting some referrals from there as well. So that was a good source of referrals, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Zapata.
Yeah, thank you so much for this presentation. I wanted to just start off by saying what an important resource, obviously, Albany Cares is. And, the city, our city is so small that our resources are quite limited. And so having a staff person available, I do want to express, the desire for even more contacts. If you average, take out Saturday and Sunday, we have about 250 work days of the year, and 323 contacts would put us at about maybe 1.5 people per day. And I understand you all case manage, so it's not just one, but I personally would like to see that number rise significantly. And one of the things that I would say is that outreach is absolutely critical. And what we know about, what residents constantly say about Albany, is that they're not aware. They don't know about the services. They don't know about what's going on in the city. And this is an enormous problem. There was a Juneteenth celebration recently, and I would have loved to have seen Albany Cares have a table. You should all be tabling at every single public event. And it sounds like you've done that. And so, congratulations. And I also think that absolutely whatever on the street sort of work that can be done. I mean, I realize that we're coming out of a pandemic, but this resource is so important for our city, and we cannot continue with what happens so often in Albany, which is we have these resources and people don't know about them. So I wanted to start off with saying, and I will email you, Anne Marie, with further suggestions or ideas, because I know obviously care quite a bit. And the other thing that I wanted to say was, so my question is specifically around housing. And I showed this image of what we know about housing in Albany and the history of housing in Albany earlier. And I want to just give an example. And my question is, what can we do? Because you spend so much time fielding these calls, and we have to move into action, because what we know is that where people live determines everything. It determines their lifespan. It determines their access to healthcare. It determines how they're treated by police and whether or not they're surveyed, harassed, killed, etc. And so the city of Albany, I just wanted to give an example of someone at the farm. The Giltrack farm has an amazing child care center. And I just heard recently from someone that works at the farm that a parent, an African-American mother with a young child, has been trying to find housing in Albany for quite a while, and she has a voucher, and she cannot get housing in Albany. And so my question is, what does this look like? And I would love to hear, thinking outside of the box, because when we get into just capitalist market reality, we don't have control over landlords, but we have to do, it's imperative that we do something. So I'd love to hear any, even outside of the box thoughts you have, given your expertise.
So I think those are really, really important points. And of course, it's not just going on in Albany that real estate prices have gone through the roof. And, when people contact me about finding housing and they are on a fixed income or have a low income, there is really nothing to offer them. It's within the city of Albany. The affordable housing that I know about that people can apply for, which often can take years to get into, but it's, they're working on building a place in Albany, but we don't actually have any subsidized housing in Albany, except for maybe one, there may be one senior like facility, maybe 4 or 5 rooms. And I recently met a landlord who has Section 8 tenants. But, it's exactly what you said is true. When someone gets a Section 8 voucher, it's very limited how much rent they can pay. They get the voucher, they're going to pay 1/3 of their income. But Section 8, whether it's, Berkeley Section 8, Alameda County, which encompasses Albany, or Contra Costa County, they set a limit. They say you're one person and we will pay up to, $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom, or up to $1,200 a month for a studio. And if the person can't find that, then they can't use their voucher. And of course, in this rental market, someone else can come along and say, oh, I'll pay $1,600 for that place, and then they're going to get it. Landlords may not want to participate in the Section 8 program. The money hasn't risen along with the way rents have gone up. So it's a system problem, and it's not just in Albany. I think that there might be ways to give incentives to homeowners to consider renting to Section 8 tenants. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know how that would work. Of course, building affordable housing, that's a long process, and that's been going on for a while now with a Saha building that they're working on. Some form of rent control, which hardly exists anywhere anymore. There are a number of apartment buildings in Albany where very low income seniors are living, where I think just out of the goodness of their heart, the landlord or the building owner has not raised rents, and people are paying very low rents still.
And Anne-Marie, do you know the racial composition? Can you comment on the race of those elderly?
The folks in those buildings? I really can't. Each building I'm thinking of, I may know 4 or 5 or 6 people there, but I don't even know how many apartments there are. And, there may be a reason why the people I know from there, I may know them because they all know each other, and I met one of them, and so I've met their friends as well. So I don't have any idea of the composition. I don't even know if it's all seniors in these buildings, or there may be families as well. So yeah, I don't know that.
I have a point of order. I wonder if, Jeremiah, would you mind turning your camera off, because it's incredibly distracting, if that's okay with you? Thank you so much.
Commissioner Zapata, was that the end of your questions? Okay, Commissioner Bannon.
Yeah, I just had a quick word of congratulations. It's really amazing that you were able to actually increase your clients during COVID. I found that really strikingly
Oh, thanks.
crazy. And then I just had a quick comment about some ideas I have for like increasing outreach in schools and with younger generations. I know each school from elementary to high school has like a weekly, elementary schools have like a weekly newsletter, which is super great. I think it has a bunch of those kind of similar resources, and you can talk to, I believe, principals at elementary schools to find out about that weekly newsletter. And then high school actually had daily announcements, which goes to every single student, usually over the intercom, but it's recently been over Zoom. And you can actually contact me about that or contact a principal as well. So that's a great way to reach out to students at the high school level.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Those are
you.
Great ideas. Yeah.
And there's also like a parent monthly email at the high school level too.
Okay.
Commissioner Lindsay and then Canoy.
One thing that I'll certainly be requesting that we agendize the Albany Cares program for a deeper discussion on how we can help and encourage the city to expand the program, because I think what you're doing is exactly what needs to be done, but we need more of you, as several people have mentioned already. So, you know, like 2 FTEs instead of, you know, 3/4 of 1 FTE. You know, and if we got the word out better, you know, you might need additional FTEs, who knows? But right now that's hard to justify until, you know, we get more people in. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing.
Mhm.
You're spending all your time reacting to new clients and then, you know, doing follow-up and stuff with ones that need more than one contact, that you don't have time to do outreach, and therefore they can say, the powers that be can say, well, you know, you don't have the people. You know, what do you need two FTEs? Well, you know, it's chicken and egg. So I think we need to push that a bit, or more than a bit. But I just think that the program is really, really important and needs to be expanded dramatically. I wanted to thank Bart very much for, you know, being the original one to sort of get it going. That's pretty spectacular plus there. So I did have a few questions and comments. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can because there's a lot of them. But can you just say briefly, what is your mission? Because I'm a little unclear on that. What is the mission of Albany Cares?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I may have a mission. It's not in writing anywhere. So
Oh my.
Yeah.
Really?
Not that I know of. Maybe Bart knows differently.
Okay. Well, anyway, what do you got?
Well, CARES stands for Community Access to Resources and Services.
Okay.
And so my idea of CARES is that really anyone who contacts me, they don't actually technically have to be an Albany resident, to help them access the assistance, the services, or the resources that they need to, you know, resolve whatever the issue is. And if those resources, you know, don't exist, then sometimes I can, you know, help them in some way to, you know, to resolve the issue. But if the resources exist, of course, it's to connect them to other resources.
Okay, so would that be like, I make a phone call and I say, I need X, and you say, oh, okay, you need to contact this organization. Here's their phone number and email.
So there are specific agencies that do help people with specific issues.
Yeah.
So right now, for instance, there is this county program for people to pay rent that they owe because of the effects of COVID. I don't even know you know, I don't know how that's going, but at least there, I can refer people to that. So people over the year contacted me about rent problems they were having. And I tried to stay up on what was going on with that. And there wasn't anything out there for a long time. There was just an eviction moratorium. So people couldn't be evicted because they owed rent, but you know,
Temporarily.
right. And then finally this program was up and running, and it was kind of complicated how to make the application, et cetera. But I had a lot of people who had contacted me who I was able to reach out to and get the information to them to contact the program. And then, you know, sometimes people aren't able to, they had to fill out the application online. Some people aren't able to do that. So sometimes it's, you know, a lot of people need assistance just making these applications. And for instance, applying for subsidized housing, it's very complicated.
Yeah. A lot of them are very complicated. It's almost as if the people that make these applications either don't care or are semi-hostile to it.
And more it's online. So,
yeah. So you're basically referral service, but you also help people with navigating the application world. Is that correct?
That's correct. You know, I also just do a lot of listening, and I do a lot of helping people figure out exactly what the problem is and kind of what the steps are that they need to take. You know, sometimes people call me with a long story and they're not even sure what part of the story is relevant because, you know, they're just overwhelmed by all the things going on.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time talking to people.
Okay.
First time I meet with someone, I often spend an hour and a half or so with them to kind of get an idea of all the different things that are going on.
All right, so
make a plan with them.
So referral service, application help, and some kind of informal counseling.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The second thing is that are you able, you know, I've done volunteer management a lot over my life. And volunteer coordination, volunteer management, that sort of thing. It's actually not easy to onboard volunteers and to figure out how to utilize them, to train them, to make sure they're actually doing the job that they claim that they're going to do, because there's a good chunk of the time they don't actually do it. You know, it's a lot of work managing volunteers. So I'm wondering, do you have the capacity to manage new volunteers? You know.
Well, so far, I have a handful of volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
I have anywhere from 6 to 9 volunteers at any given time. And mostly what the volunteers were doing were staffing the drop-in center with me. Yeah. So I was there with them. Right. And a lot of the volunteers were there before I was. Right. So they might know resources that I didn't know about. But, you know, volunteers have different skills. Some are just really good at sitting and talking and listening to people, and they get to know some of our clients and can be, you know, the other day, a client we've been working with for a long time had an interview for subsidized housing in Berkeley, which is just really exciting. I told her I would go with her to the interview. It ended up being scheduled right when I had another meeting that I had to go to. So one of our volunteers went with her, and it was great. And I knew he would, you know, she would feel comfortable with him. He would be able to, you know, tell me what had happened and what was needed, etc. I really rely on my volunteers. They tend to, you know, they follow my lead. They give the information that they know, and then they'll check in with me before the person leaves to make sure that there's not, you know, other information. Some are very good at referrals, and they can find, you know, the information in one of the binders and give it to the person. And others are just, you know, they just like to sit and talk with people and make them feel comfortable and welcome. And of course, that's a big part of what we do, is just making people feel comfortable and welcome so that they can talk about whatever it is that's going on that they may
Okay.
not feel comfortable even talking about.
Okay, I'm going to throw out an idea real quick, and I'm guessing that we're probably way behind on the agenda. Is that correct, Chair?
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to try to cut my stuff short here. One conceivable thing is if one of your volunteers could become a volunteer coordinator. You might just think about that. I might be able to help there with some training. I couldn't be that volunteer coordinator, but I've done it many times. So, but because that would then let you sort of expand via volunteers. And you could expand some of the, but even if we didn't get more funding, which I think we need to get, but so that's just an idea I wanted to throw out there. I wanted to throw out another idea, which was similar to what Commissioner Bainan had to say, which is, for low-income families should be an absolutely high priority for us. And how are we going to find them? The school lunch program. Right. So if you could connect with the school lunch program, I don't know what privacy rules they have, lots probably. But if you could find some way then to proactively reach out to those families, where they could get maybe a couple $1,000s in their pocket if they just had some help filling out applications, that would be pretty huge. That would be really huge. I would actually like to see that if somebody qualifies for the school lunch program, that the city has a policy that automatically qualifies them for all the city programs. You're just good. And we could really, really expand that. The other thing that I think we really need to prioritize is language minorities. You mentioned Chinese, but we actually have a lot of people who speak Spanish. And so I think those really should be there, if we're going to bring in a volunteer to help with folks, we should also bring in volunteers who speak Spanish. So I think those right there could greatly expand the program if we reached out. At least you could go by last names, which are something like 80-90% accurate, and proactively send something in their language and say, look, there's a couple $1,000s sitting on the table here. Call this phone number, email this, drop in, whatever. So anyway, I actually asked staff months ago how many people are eligible in the city of Albany for the city of Albany programs, the parcel tax exemptions. I never did get an answer. We never got an answer. My suspicion is, if I was going to take a wild guess, that maybe it's 2,000 or 3,000 people who would be eligible, and we're actually 80 to 100 are getting it, and people feel happy about that. My guess is that part of the reason we haven't gotten the response is because staff is afraid it'll make us look bad, but we need to be real about this. And so I just mean emotionally. I don't mean they're calculating it, but just emotionally, they're not incentivized to make themselves look bad. So we'd really like to know that number, how many people are eligible, so that then we can say, okay, now how are we going to move the needle on that? So that's a big frustration that I have, and if there's anything you could do there, that would be great. And I think the rest of the stuff, maybe I'll just contact you separately, and okay, because of the agenda issue.
Sure. I would like to mention, I remember this about trying to get some information about low-income families to outreach to around the parcel tax stuff. And we couldn't get the information we couldn't get the names, and contact information, but the schools did give out the parcel tax information to the families receiving the school lunches. That's what
Yeah, I believe that. The problem is, I just want to say that's great. And that's about what you could reasonably expect, actually, come to think of it. But that works. The problem is that it's professional staff people who don't have the sort of lived experience that of the people that they're sending stuff to. And so they're sending stuff that's complex, that's, not simple, not encouraging. People look at it, that doesn't tell them how much money is on the table. It's just like, you might qualify for these parcel tax exemptions. So go to this link for people that don't have internet. Fill out these applications that require a tax form and you didn't file taxes the prior year, and all kinds of stuff that make it really hard. So what we need to do is we need to reach out to people, ideally, including Chinese and Spanish, and somehow get people to make an easy phone call or easy email or something where they can get on a list of people that want this, and then we can get to work instead of, bless them, like legalese or, information in college level, long words and stuff that's just like hard for people to read, or might be hard for people to read. So anyway, that's the thing. I'm glad to hear they did something, but obviously it isn't working. And I think the problem is the outreach, not the people who are receiving it would probably love to get that $2,000 if they even knew what was on the table. So anyway, I'm done.
I want to clarify, do you also do warm handoffs with other agencies?
Yes.
Right, so it's not just direct referrals, it's you're
No,
introducing them to someone.
whenever possible. That's why it was so great having Berkeley Mental Health right there at the drop-in center. That's the best way to refer someone. Yeah.
And then I would just quickly throw out transit discount cards are great. A great way of knowing who has a disability or is a senior. I have one because I have a permanent disability, but it's tapped into very little as a way to like qualify me for, hey, I might need services. And looking into Meals on Wheels and things, they're mostly about seniors. And when I've had to have surgery, they've served me, but they've been awkward about it. And so that's one of the pieces that I would love to see CARES like integrate in both advertising, and maybe that's a way to outreach. I know that my card is through all of Alameda County, or bigger, it's through AC Transit. But so that's just a thought.
To get information about who's getting the transit discounts?
Yeah, and it doesn't tell you specifically if it's because they're disabled or a senior or low income. I think that is also a qualification, but all of those groups could use CARES services. Yeah. Commissioner Cannoli, your hand was up, but it went down.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I don't want to make it as long. I just first want to say thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for coming and presenting. I do have a couple of things. So as we know, there's like little to no one in the city of Albany that literally lives here and or works here. So how can you reach out to people that are Black and brown? I think that is extremely important. And I saw in the beginning of the pandemic where there was advertisement, but it specifically said, CARES, do you need rental assistance and or food assistance? So that makes people believe you guys are there to help with that. And what I mean by that is you guys provide the food, you guys provide the rental help. So it's almost as if it's like a mismarketing, like false advertisement,
Right.
which really is frustrating to the city of Albany, but also frustrating to the residents as well. And I think some type of marketing that is specific to what you guys do would be more efficient than almost putting false advertisement on a poster, and it being only on 2 spots. Well, at least that's what I saw, which was on the soccer field and also on the police station, fire station, I believe. Please tell me if I'm wrong. So I'm hoping that the marketing that you guys are doing reaches to a wide range of people. And I have a question in regards to reaching out to you. So can you give me the process of how, if someone were to come up to email you and say, Anne-Marie, I need help with rental assistance. And I'm wondering if you can refer me to, I don't know, Albany Project of Hope. Because what I found was, I know a lot of people I currently live in the Village. And the feedback that I got was, it's almost like a runaround where you have to reach out to 5,000 people in order for you to come to you and say, hey, I reached out to 5,000 people. Now, can you assist me? Then you're like, no, actually, I can't. What was her knowledge? What was this? What was that? So it would be helpful if you can kind of run through of how you can be of assistance to people that actually do need help.
Right. Those are really good points. I have to say, I don't have total say over marketing. Sometimes I have input, but I'm not marketing myself. And so getting rental assistance through Albany Project Hope is very different at different times. It just, I don't know how all the funding works, but there's funding for homelessness prevention and there's funding for housing people, and they're in different pots. And all I can do is refer people to them. And I know that when people are living in the UC Village, I remember this, there's a whole process that I'm required to go through because of the relationship between the city and UC and who's going to pay, for people to have rental assistance. So, I have to refer people to where I'm told that they have to go for rental assistance. And it's not always a easy and direct process. I could talk to you about it, more specifically, but, not in a group setting about the specific instance you're referring to. But I know it's not user-friendly. And sometimes it's been very easy. There are people I've referred to Albany Project Hope and they are able to get exactly what they need. And then sometimes it's a long process and it doesn't always work out. And I think there's a lot of bureaucracy around where the money comes from and how the money can be spent.
So how is this money being spent though? Because I think that it's almost like for a selective group of people, right? So that's what I think I'm confused about as well. If you can elaborate on that, that'd be great.
Well, honestly, all I have my only role in that is supposed to be just referring people. I don't really have any say on how the funding is distributed. I'm told where to refer people when it comes to rental assistance, where I can refer them to. And then that's as far as I'm supposed to go. So it's really a question. I don't know if it's a question for Albany Project Hope or for the city, for certain city staff about how the money is distributed.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And I know it's kind of difficult to answer, but I almost feel like this CARES, the CARES program is almost dedicated to just senior citizens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it may be wrong, but we just definitely saw the numbers, and I don't know, it's almost as if it's like we're left out. Especially, obviously, I'm Black and I'm sitting in, and I live in Albany, and I'm like, obviously, like I'm like a very small percentage. But I just kind of feel left out, and I feel like that. I wish that you guys could put more something out there for the community, and in touching everyone, not just a certain group of people. Just because Sally says this, and it's like, it's almost like a connection type of thing. And I think that it should be a whole. You guys should work as a whole, not just I guess referrals. But anyway, thank you so very much.
Let me just say that anyone who comes to me, regardless of their age, of their ethnicity, and really honestly of where specifically they live, I do everything I can for them and refer them to any place that I can refer them to or try to connect them with. But, you know, a lot of times the resources just don't exist. So.
Thank you.
Commissioner Grossman, you have a clarifying point.
I just wanted to suggest that we have someone come and do a presentation from the homelessness program that Berkeley Food and Housing Project runs, which is distinct from Project Hope. It's regional, and they could explain the process by which they proceed in providing funds to people and assistance to people, because there are some very definite rules, some of which, frankly, I think are a little crazy. Like there's this concept of you're really homeless, which means you're not couch surfing or, I mean, so it would be really useful, I think, to have somebody come in and explain that to us so that, and so that we can give some input too. Because although Albany has access to that program, Albany, again, I think is a stepchild and is not seen. And I think we need to reach out and make these people aware that Albany is a place with people in it who need help. So that's just a suggestion.
And then I just want to clarify, Anne Marie, you said that you're not sure who's in charge of this bureaucracy that requires you to make these referral runarounds. Who would be able to break through that if it's city staff, Project Hope, or someone else?
Right. I think there's a lot of different players, and especially when we're talking about University Village, then there's players who are part of UC as well. So then it's really, yeah, I have.
Those three primarily, you think? The City of Albany, Project Hope, and the UC?
UC, it just pertains to folks who are living in University Village. In terms of, when you're talking about rental assistance, I think it's going to be Albany Project Hope, Berkeley Food and Housing, and some staff from the city.
I want to get public comment before we hear from other commissioners again, and also to try to wrap this up. This has been very helpful and informative, and I think we've had a great discussion. Laura, if you would open public comment, please. And we will do 3 minutes for this, just because there's so much. So this is questions and comments. First member of the public, please.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Nikki. Thank you so much for your presentation. I was actually invited here by Jeremiah, who wanted me just to tell you about a little bit about our organization and our event. So I could do it at the end. I know I missed the public comment section, but thank you so much again for your event. Can I speak about it now, or should I?
Yes, now would be fine. Thank you.
Great. Sorry, so I'm an operations manager, and I run an organization called Committee for South African Solidarity. We're in Berkeley. Jeremiah's been volunteering with us for over a year now. And we've been around for 28 years. We're going to be celebrating our 28th anniversary dinner. This is actually an invitation that we're doing it at a local church. And what we do is we're trying to let people know about what's really going on in South Africa, counter a lot of the misinformation. It's very much like the conditions that you guys have been talking about today, with tremendous amount of poverty and homelessness. And unfortunately, it's the same people benefiting. The same amount, over $60 billion each year leaves the country in the forms of profits for the world's largest banks and corporations. So we're trying to counter the misinformation. We also send school supplies. We just shipped 14,000 pounds of supplies that have been delivered to 7 schools in South Africa. But we also do need volunteers, and Jeremiah thought that it would be good to speak to you guys about if you'd like to volunteer, help us with the events, with the next shipments or publication. So I guess you can give your name and number to Jeremiah, or if there's a comment section, we could follow up with you. I could if there's a way I can leave you our number, but we're in Berkeley. We're right by the Ashby BART station. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you guys tonight.
Thank you. Next public comment, please.
Unmute. There we go. Hello?
Yes, we can
Are
hear
you-
you now.
Thank you. I just didn't hear which property tax exemptions you've been talking about. I'm a home owner in Berkeley, classified as very low income by my city. So which exemptions have you been talking about?
In Berkeley, they're Albany taxes.
Okay, we'll clarify that for you once your comment's over. Is that all that you have?
Yes, basically. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't see any other public comments. So giving it 3 seconds in 3, 2, 1, and closing public comment. And then Anne Marie, if you could clarify, I think it's Albany parcel tax.
Yeah, this is the parcel tax exemptions are just for the city of Albany. I am not aware that Berkeley has any. I don't know. You'd have to look at your property tax bill. But we've been talking about exemptions through both the city and the Unified School District. Through the city, they're based on income, people being low income, and through the Unified School District, there's an exemption for senior homeowners, and then there are exemptions for low income, or actually very low income homeowners, and possibly for low income renters. And there are exemptions for low income renters through the city as well.
Commissioner Garrett-Pinguelo's hand has been up for a long time, so let's circle back to you. But we are trying to wrap this up a little bit. So final questions and comments.
Oh, thank you. So basically Albany Cares, it kind of sounds like calling 211. You know, it's kind of like a directory, right? It's kind of what it seems like. And the Albany Cares stands for Community Access to Resources. So if someone calls Albany Cares and says, hey, I need to do laundry, or hey, I need to take a shower, where do you refer people to go take a shower or to do laundry for the homeless?
So I have a list of the current shower programs. I try to keep it updated with what's open and when they're open. And I only know of the one laundry program. So I put that on the same list as the showers, and that's what I've been giving people.
Okay. Also, the way that Albany Cares refers to Albany Project Hope, is Carol part of Albany Cares or Albany Hope?
Carol works for Albany Project Hope.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's good to know the difference, because Albany Cares, Albany Hope, it's almost the same thing, and it's easily to get confused on kind of who's doing what. So who runs Albany Hope? I'm sorry. You know that?
Yes. Well, so our main person that we refer to is Angela Upshaw. And then she works with also Carol Jones, who is, I think, called the Navigator.
Right. Okay. So is Angela around again? Because during the whole thing at the Travel Lodge, Carol couldn't get a hold of her or something. Is she back around?
I think she was on vacation for about a week, but as far as I know, she's around. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what happened there. Yeah, people seem to go on vacation when it kind of means the most for homeless people, when things need to happen.
Commissioner Garrett-Pinguelo.
Yeah, hello. So
Yeah.
let's see here. Also the rent, the $4,000 per month for this hotel thing. there's a lot of money. Is it possible in the future, when we house homeless people again, is it possible to where we could find a 1-bedroom apartment for rent for $1,500 or a studio for $1,200?
That was through Project Hope. Is that correct, Anne Marie?
That is through Project Hope, yeah.
Right. Is that a possibility, you think?
You're asking me if there are apartments in Albany that people could rent for $1,500 a month?
Right. Are you familiar with landlords that would accept this sort of program in Albany? I mean, is there a list of landlords? Is there some sort of outreach to landlords in Albany for apartment buildings to where they would, accept this sort of housing things? Because a lot of landlords might not accept it because they're afraid they may damage the house, and Albany Hope might not want to pay for all the damages. I mean, is there a way to get active landlords in Albany to where they would accept this program?
I mean, that's a good question. It's not something that I'm really involved in. We did have a landlord contact us at one point saying that they wanted to, to work with the city on helping to house people who were formerly homeless. But any outreach that's going on, I'm not involved in it. That would be Albany Project Hope that's doing that.
Okay, and one last question. Since it's community access to resources, the hand wash station, the porta potty isn't there anymore at the library. And it's just a great resource in general because it's available 24 hours a day. Let's say an average resident in Albany is jogging on the BART trail and needs to use a restroom real quick. Everybody knows there's a porta potty at the library. So is there a way to get these resources available again to offer hand wash stations or 24-hour access to drinking water, 24-hour access to a bathroom, or 24-hour access to washing your hands in Albany?
Yeah, tonight when someone mentioned it, it's the first I heard of that the hand washing station and the bathroom aren't there at the community center. Now, I don't know why. I didn't hear that they were being removed. I can, try to find out, but I have no idea why that happened.
Thanks.
Do
Okay.
you know-
Go ahead.
Sorry. Do you know who is responsible for that? Because I assume it's not CARES, but it is mentioned on the CARES webpage.
It's not CARES. It's very likely it's neighborhood services or the possibly our, disaster response because it came about because of COVID. So I think probably Sid Schoenfeld would be the person who would know.
City stuff. Commissioner Lindsay, and then Cannoli.
Okay.
You're still muted. Also, sorry, Commissioner Garrett Penguela, you were done, I think.
I had a couple other questions, but it's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say last, but we'll come back to you if that's all right. Commissioner Lindsay.
Berkeley does have exemptions, low-income exemptions, and several of them. Unfortunately, I don't have a phone number for you, and then you can end up making, as Commissioner Cannoli was mentioning, if you don't get the right connection, it can, 8 calls and they start pointing you to somebody else, and then you end up back where you started. It can get nasty, but if you really stick with it, you should be able to find out who to talk to apply for getting those exemptions. And they can really add up to a lot of money. So it's worth doing that. And conceivably, Anne Marie, if you're up for it, maybe you could use your special contacts and find out who do they actually call if they're from Berkeley. I guarantee you they're there. I know they are. I just don't know who you talk to about getting applications for them. And without being sent through this nasty, telephone hell or email hell, or somebody doesn't respond for 2 weeks, and when they do respond, they say you need to talk to somebody in another department. It's just like really, really awful stuff. So if you could, give them an actual real person who will really help them, that would be huge. So anyway, The other thing is that when Commissioner Connolly was talking about frustrations with people and people who are feeling like ignored or less than, he made a comment, well, we'll certainly serve anybody who calls us, but I think that maybe the point was missed there. The point was not, are you serving everybody who contacts you? The point is getting more Black and brown people to contact you, right? And so, and in a way that makes it clear that this is a clearinghouse, not a direct, call here and we will help you or something like that. I don't know. Connect with the right people, navigate the system, as ugly as it is. But that's really the point. And we really have to prioritize that or it won't happen. And also we should, the messenger is important. And so if the messenger is, a white middle-class person working for the city, then maybe they should actually consult with some other people that have different lived experiences in terms of what to write down, rather than just doing their thing and sending it out and saying, oh, we did our job. I mean, we really have to be thoughtful and prioritize it. So that's all I want to say.
Commissioner Connolly.
I should have asked this earlier, Anne Marie. I apologize. So you mentioned you're only working 30 hours a week, correct? And you have volunteers. Okay. Now, Brennan Brown, he is a recreation supervisor, correct? And he was working alongside with you during the pandemic. What happened with him? And he's not a volunteer, I'm assuming. He does work for the city.
Yes.
So is he still working with you, alongside with you, reaching out? Because I know you work 30 hours, he must be replacing the other 10 and or more. So do you mind going over that? Because I feel like if you two both were helping those that are in need, it would go farther if we had him still in that position. So it'd be great if you can tell me like what happened.
He is not in that position any longer. He's moved into a different position. And I don't know what else I can say about that.
Okay, I just thought that he was still I thought he was still working alongside with you, if you didn't mention it, but okay.
They reduced your FTE?
Thank you.
They reduced the program FTE?
I don't think he was officially paid. He wasn't paid through the Albany Cares program.
That he was working on things alongside you.
He was my supervisor at the senior center.
Commissioner Grossman, if it's brief. You're muted though.
The comment was made that this is just a directory. I just wanted to reinforce that it's not, that to make a good referral is a lot of work. Yeah, you can make a bad referral by giving somebody a phone number and saying goodbye and good luck. But that's not what Anne Marie does. She's really getting to know what these people need, and she's getting to know what the agencies offer. And that takes a lot more work, but it makes the referrals work. If you don't do that, people just disappear. I just want to make sure that was clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would add that it sounds a lot like a warm line is how I would put the informal sort of counseling. And that the application assistance is huge and really hard to find people who will actually help you and go to an appointment with you. That is amazing that you do that. It's just, you clearly need more time for that, I think. Commissioner Garrett Pinguello, and then I think that'll wrap us up. So your final questions.
So I remember last time Albany Cares did a presentation, you mentioned a route that I guess Carol drives around through Albany. Was it every day or once a week? is there still a route that Albany Cares drives and does? Because the route was Safeway, parking lot, Albany High School, Memorial Park area, Albany Library, I believe City Hall, and I believe there might have been a couple other places I just don't recall.
I think that must have been an Albany Project Hope presentation because I don't know anything about a route. So it sounds like that might be the homeless outreach team that has a route that they go around, and I don't know.
Okay, I apologize. I keep getting both of these confused. Albany Project Hope, Albany Cares. I need to figure that out. To me, it's almost the same thing, but I know there's a big difference. So one question, I believe it is for you. Regarding the hand wash station at the library, it is a great resource. I'm just wondering if the porta potty and hand wash station, if maybe we can work together on getting something done there. I mean, I do have access to a hand wash station. It's actually a hand wash station that takes care of places in Berkeley, like Ashby University underpass, also 8th Street in Harrison. So I can give you their contact information, and they're ready to put a hand wash station in Albany, but they just need proper permission to do that sort of thing. It's a 275 gallon, a square water tank, and they have drinking water. It is drinking water, and also the city of Berkeley, I guess, someone comes out and tests the water to make sure it's safe for people. So maybe we can work together on that.
I will clarify, I believe we established that is through neighborhood services, that's SID.
I think, I'm not exactly sure who's in charge of that, but yeah, it's not through me.
Right.
Okay, I'll work through SID, and then once that gets accomplished, then we could offer that resource through CARES, community access to resources. Okay, thank you.
Okay, is that the end of your questions, Commissioner Garapinguela?
Yes, thank you for asking.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure this time. Okay, are there any last final things? I know we have public comment again, which we can't get to in this section, but I'll take it at the beginning of next. And I want to let Anne-Marie go. Commissioner Grossman?
I'm sorry. Anne-Marie, do you still get money from Berkeley Mental Health? There was, in the beginning, there was some money that came from Berkeley Mental Health.
To Albany Cares?
Yes, it was an innovative program grant.
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure where the funding came from.
We better find out, because if it did, it will go away.
Was it Mental Health Services Act, maybe?
Yes, it was Mental Health Services Act in their innovation division.
I don't know.
Isabel would know.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you so much. This was very helpful, and we really appreciate the work that you do. And I know that I want to make a recommendation to increase at least your hours to full-time 40, and probably get a volunteer coordinator or something. But this was great, and thank you very, very much.
As Commissioner Grossman said, I think the whole concept came out of the SEJC, and you guys have been the biggest supporters of the CARES program. So thank you.
Okay, have a great night. And that concludes the presentation section of our agenda, which reads we're supposed to move on now to 6.1 of 3. And I will honestly hear motions for what to prioritize and what to table. But first, I do want to hear public comment because I think it is related previously. And now that we're on a new agenda item, I can open it again. So Laura, if you would. This is technically on the review of commission work plan, but okay, public comment. I see a hand went down, but still muted. It's possible the hand was still just up. and that there is no public comment. Give it 5 seconds. If you have a public comment, please try to unmute yourself. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you, Laura. Okay. Did you have something to say, Laura?
I do. Before we get started on the work plan, just want to make an announcement that the date of the presentation to council has been set for Monday, July 19th. So
Yep.
everyone keep that in mind. And then before we end the meeting, after you guys talk about the work plan, we do need to make a motion to approve the work plan to go to council. So we don't want to forget that.
Yeah, thanks. So we do have to finalize what we're going to present and approve that tonight.
And I can share my screen with the work plan that the rough draft of it that I worked on that I think you reviewed. I can open it. I can edit while you guys talk if you'd like. You can do that, so I can edit as we talk.
Okay. I think we will start doing success one, and we'll do that right now. So, and try to maybe speed run. It was, you wrote up what we talked about essentially.
Yeah. Everything on the current work plan draft is everything it's on the council approved template, and everything that was discussed is on there.
Okay. Commissioner Canole, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to, I want to preface this. We don't have a lot of time, and we literally have until, so can you run through this, not so much in detail and kind of just get something on the, get the ball rolling? I think that is really important, because if we can talk about something for 5,000 minutes, it's not going to work. So is that okay, Chair Dotsy? I mean, I don't know if you can make an amendment. I don't know, but we can't here and talk about it for 20 minutes for each thing.
No, I agree. My objective is that we get through this in 15 minutes or less, and then we probably table 6.2 and 6.3 if everyone agrees with that. But that's my current vision. So, Laura, I think all the background stuff we don't really need to review, and everyone received this in advance of the meeting. It went out with the agenda. So are there any current proposed changes? Commissioner Lindsay? You're muted still. Still muted. Still muted.
Sorry, when she shared, it took over the whole screen. So then I had to, okay. So sorry about that. I was just going to say, if anybody else is on this speaking list, then I'm happy to go last because I do talk a lot. I don't see anybody else, but does anybody else want to go first? Art's got his hand up. So just put me at the end of the list, okay?
Okay. Commissioner Grossman.
Yeah, suddenly it says, ask the host to give permission to record. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I have two things I wanted to see added. We've discussed before. One is the notion of housing subsidies for rent and ownership as a way of making reparations for redlining. I'd like to see us discuss that. It's not in here anywhere.
That would go under, can you say where?
I think goal 1.
Okay.
And then I would like us to discuss the notion of an equity officer for the city. And also I would like to see us talk about how the recommendations in the equity plan are going to be implemented. Those are my 3 points.
Okay. Can you, so we're trying to churn this out so that we send it. Can you help Laura place those? So I think goal 1 was redlining.
That's the redlining reparations discussion. The follow-up on the equity plan is objective 3, and the equity officer I would put under potential future work plan items.
Okay. And I think, just to clarify, you meant goal 1 or goal 2, objective 1
I
for the
meant,
redlining piece?
For the redlining, I meant goal 1.
Okay, Laura. Yeah. Okay, next. You got all that right, Laura. Maybe.
The potential one. Let me add this in. So gold 1 and objective. There's only
Objective 2, but it's goal 1, I think
Right.
was, yeah, that's why that was confusing. So up under goal 1, objective 2 was redlining.
Okay.
Yeah, and reparation
Well,
discussion.
okay.
Yeah.
And then what was the potential future?
Equity. Would you say the words again, Commissioner Grossman? You're muted. Still muted.
Sorry. The creation of an equity officer for the city.
Okay. Any other, Commissioner Bainan?
Yeah. So under one-time action items, where it says, towards the bottom, where it says youth task force, I think it would just be good if we put like a little dash and said like investigate creation of, just to give some more context.
Commissioner Zapata?
I just wanted to make sure, Bart, did the thing about the following up on the racial equity, did that get in there?
Laura, did you get that?
I saw it being typed. That was under like goal objective 3 or
Objective
something.
3, yeah. Number 4.
Yeah.
Oh, for redlining, or did I already put that?
No. You got it. Sorry, that's all.
Got it.
Yeah. Thanks for making sure. I was watching it get typed. You maybe want to, say discussion or something. Follow through. I think I would put follow through on that one. It was under goal 2, objective 3, so a little further down. Scrolling is a whole thing. A little further down than that.
Look for the words Nicole Anderson. Yeah.
No, it was a new item added. It was objective 3, number 5.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the next page. It's on page 3. Right, number 5 there. So that's right. And then follow through, I think.
But these are what we're editing here is the 2019 to 21 plan outcomes. This isn't our plan for the next 2 years. This is the previous plan. That's what this whole section is.
Is that this section?
Yeah, look up at the top.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
So are we saying then that we're basically taking the prior one and just adjusting it? Or are we, because you see right down at the bottom of the page, it's currently on the screen, it says fiscal year 2021-23 work plan items, and it's semi-empty. I don't know if they still want it in that same form by objective or if they want it in a different form. I think they want it in a different form, right? Is that right, Laura? They don't want it like in the form it used to be.
You know what? Let me stop sharing this and just double check that I have the right. Am I even doing? Is this even the right one, Curiosity? Hold on.
It's showing
that is
2021 to 2023.
Right, but there's a new template the city council wants.
Yeah.
They want it in a different format.
Yeah.
Laura is sharing what is attached to the agenda, but I think the issue is that though at the top it says 2021 to 2023 work plan, on the section that we were editing, which is page 2 of it, it was 2019 to 2021 work plan outcomes, which was about the previous stuff. So yeah, we were editing the summary of what SEJC did the last 2 years.
Can you bring up the template that you attached? It was a second link, I think, in that thing, just so people can see it. I don't remember it myself and I didn't print it out.
Right. It had all of this, and then it had,
No, the template part, just the template thing.
yes, but
This is the blank one. This is like the examples.
Oh, that one right there.
Yeah.
That's the format they want it in now.
Yeah.
So it's not by, in the old format of whatever the heck those were. Yeah, I was like,
Excuse me, could we limit ourselves to additions and then let that Laura and the chair do the editing afterward?
yeah.
If we try to edit together, we'll never get done.
so yeah, we could make that. We could put these in, and then we could make a motion that empowers the chair and Laura to get it in final form that'll go to council.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll make sure that we've made the additions, we put them in the wrong place, we'll put them in the right place.
Yeah, we don't need a motion for that.
No, I mean, Laura, you could color them or something, the things we changed. I don't know if it's now or later or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Let's make sure that people get the things that they said, that they are captured as separate items.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
she's okay.
Other changes to just making sure that everything is in the work plan, because we're going to submit it. And it's the stuff at the bottom is the focus. Commissioner Garrett Pinguela.
Yeah, so it says Albany Cares report annually. I mean, that should at least be quarterly. Also, we're talking about a 2-year plan. I mean, 1 year is already over. We're going to have a break next month. And we got this back in January. And it's been almost a year. I mean, it's been so long to try to figure this out. So I just motioned to approve whatever we got to do and get this rolling, because time's ticking, and we just got to take action in the moment and really make a change. I mean, we're on this commission to make a social justice change. That's what I'm doing out on the streets every day, trying to make a difference. So if we can
motion.
Albany Cares quarterly report.
All right. So do other commissioners agree with, let's do the hand thing of like, full hand is no to making it quarterly, and grasp hand is yes, I want to make it a quarterly report. That's just a poll for Cares. Okay.
I'm not sure if they can do quarterly as of right now. I know that we went back and forth about whether or not it was quarterly or annually, but whatever I put is most likely what is possible.
I know, yeah.
I was going to say, it could be twice a year. It could be every 4 months. I think we need to consult with Anne Marie and see what makes sense.
Let's not get hung up on this. Let's leave it.
Yeah. So we'll put in something about request more often, and we'll talk to city / okay.
Also, sounds like we need a report from Albany Project Hope. I mean, it really sounds like we need a presentation from Albany Project Hope. I mean, I can say it over and over, maybe every quarter.
We get a quarterly report from them.
We do get a quarterly report. They were backed up because of COVID, but we already received one this year. We just didn't know all of the stuff from Cares to ask them. Okay. So Laura, if you would just put a note next to Cares about request more often, and then I'll help you edit that. We have a motion on the table to just approve.
I have one more thing to add.
Okay, go ahead.
Basically, it's Albany's Nicole Anderson. I think we need a quarterly report and presentations from Nicole Anderson and associations, because city council gets it.
Her contract has ended. If it is renewed, we can ask for that, but that would be a cause to add that in, I believe, because it would be new. It would be part of our charge. So I don't think we need to put that in here.
Okay, well, let's make sure we could reach out to Nicole Anderson and see if she could do at least a presentation or something.
Okay, Commissioner Cannoli, and we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to just approve this as it is? I see a second from Commissioner Grossman. I'll hear brief discussion first. Commissioner Cannoli, your hand.
Yeah, so I think for like a social and economic justice commission, like we need to implement some type of funds into this plan, because I feel that there's just a lot of annual reports and stuff like that. That's just me. I don't know if maybe like I said from the beginning, I know I keep on repeating myself, but the sugar tax sweetened beverage should be allocated in this, and then also something else I forgot. But I think that we should add something and how we can how the sweetened tax beverage can be a benefit for Albany, the Albany community, whether that be like assistance. I'm not sure, but yeah.
You're right. I think that got dropped.
It did get dropped. Yeah, but
It should probably be under recurring action items.
yeah, that would be great. And then so can you, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but can you explain the potential future work plan items? Because, for example, the shower program, what does that mean? Are we just looking at it in the year of 2022, 2023, or?
This, I think the point of future work plan items is that we're not working on them right now, and we don't have a plan of exactly when, but we'll pick them up as we have time in the agenda. And so we want them approved by council to be able to work on them in the next 2 years.
Okay.
Wait, what do you mean? So this is a 2-year work plan,
Yes.
but this says potential future work plan items. The way I read it is not a work plan item. You cannot work on it until the city approves it.
No.
Laura, do you know the intent of that?
I'm almost positive that's the intent.
It sounded like what you were saying, Cherdossi, sounded accurate, but I can always double check and get back to you. Hopefully by the end of the meeting, but
Right. So we'll clarify that, and we'll make sure. Obviously, all of these we want within our work plan to be able to work on in the next 2 years. So I'll make sure that it goes under that.
I apologize to interrupt you, but I don't think that the potential future work plan items should even be on here. I think it should basically be on the one-time action items, or we discuss it on a meeting basis. Because it's like right here, it says a diversity report card, right? That should be in the one-time action items, or even, I'm sorry, the recurring action items.
we
So
can turn around however you want them to look. Depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up to you
Okay.
guys.
So I'll make sure that they're all in either recurring or one time, or yeah.
Okay. And Cannoli, did you want to expand on the SSB item? What specifically?
Well, we're supposed to make a recommendation every year as to how it is spent, and I think that got left off accidentally.
can we?
It's part of the council's process that we're one of the 4 recommending organizations, and so it's an assignment from council, or it might have been part of the law, I think. But whatever, it is work that we need to do. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe the sweet tax beverage could even go towards the laundry program. I mean, I don't know. Laundry program, or assistance with power. I mean, power. I don't know, but something.
Right.
But I think it should be on the work plan. Can we define? Can we define recurring action items, one-time action items, and the potential future work plan items, so that we do kind of all understand what that means? Because for me, when it says youth task force, it's one time. It's
Right.
Here's
The template.
examples from the template that we were given. So this is what I would look at. So for recurring action items, you can see the different examples of what they mean.
Right. Commissioner Grossman.
Yeah, I think we're on the verge of wheel spinning. If we've got all the content here, I think we discussed leaving it up to the chair and to Laura to worry about the formatting. let's not do any more of that ourselves, okay?
All right.
Just have content to add.
I
And
second
there's,
that.
yeah, and there is already a motion to just approve it as it is. I am running back through my notes to make sure that nothing got left out accidentally, because SSB is a fairly big deal. And I have things that might be potential future in that we don't have them yet, but that we talked about at the last, in our working through the work plan, which were multifamily housing proposals as they occur. And if the housing element ever does anything, then we would review both of those things. And then I don't see the tax exemption outreach in here either, a review of that, which is an ongoing charge. So adding that back in. And I think that those are the content items that got accidentally dropped. And I apologize for not catching that in the draft before so those are the content things, and I can help Laura add those in as long as we all agree. And we do have a vote to just approve it now. So Commissioner Lindsay, I saw your hand. Yes.
So I think it's premature to approve it before we have got all the items, and I've got my hand up to make items to or at least try to organize this thing. And I think there's some things that were left off. So if we're on the motion, then I want to speak against the motion because it's premature. So that all of us can get a chance to add in what we think needs to be added in. So if that's what it is, or else, and then I could, or if it's in order, then I'll give my feedback on what I think needs to be added in.
No, I think we need to take a vote on if we're just approving this or if we're going to add more. So let's call that vote, Laura.
Does anybody else want to speak to this motion before you call the vote?
Sure, yeah.
I second it.
Right.
Didn't you make the motion?
I think so, yes. And Commissioner Grossman seconded.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it should be in order for people to add content, and then we're done. So as long as it's something we've already discussed and you just want to make sure it's in there, that I think if we take a minute or two for that to happen, that's fine. I think. I don't.
Without objection, perhaps, Chair?
So that is, are you withdrawing your second then, Commissioner Grossman?
No, I'm just commenting on the motion. I'm not withdrawing anything. I just want to get this damn thing done tonight. That's all I want. Please, let's finish this.
Commissioner Lindsay, do you have new items to add, or were they previously discussed?
Yeah. So it's not clear to me. This is a new template that the city is doing, and so staff doesn't have that much experience with it. It's a little ambiguous. They have some examples, but whatever. You guys will figure out the formatting. But basically, we have some categories, and I think putting stuff under categories, I'm not suggesting we do it right now because of what Bart said is absolutely right. You guys are going to take care of that. But the categories that seem pretty clear to me are homelessness, housing, either anti-racism or EID, that is equity, inclusivity, and diversity, and economic justice. And there's also, some other miscellaneous items here, the ones that don't have multiple things, but each of those already has multiple things. And so rather than having them all sprinkled around, under anti-racism or EID, inclusivity survey, improving EID in our city should be on our work plan. The diversity report card and the implementing the racial economic, wait, have I got this right? Sorry. Racial equity impact plan should be on our work plan explicitly. Am I going too fast, Laura?
No, got it.
Okay. Under economic justice, on our work plan should be supporting and improving Albany Cares, supporting and improving Albany Hope, although that could go under homelessness too, but whatever. And then really important that I don't think is on here is a low income support program, which would include drastically increasing the number of people that are taking part in the existing help that we have via Albany Cares and via the various exemptions and things like that. So under economic and social justice, if you can add in low income support.
Okay, do you have an idea for where you want these to go under categories, or Tradastio, you take a note of just?
I've got notes.
Just under economic and social justice, you can just put a comma and add in a new one, so and then you guys can sort out how you present this to council. But it's basically the issue of low income support for low income families and people, right? Which is the most obvious thing is the tax exemptions that, but there's the rental assistance, there's Albany Cares, there's lots of stuff there, but if it's on our work plan, that just gives us the right to work on it, right? And then potential future work plan items means we cannot work on it in the next 2 years without approval. That's what it said right there.
Okay.
So, but
So
you're
we'll
going to move all that stuff somewhere else. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for making that clear.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I'm done. That's good.
Okay, so that's sort of adding back in the buckets that we had last time that didn't make it into this draft. Yeah, so I think that falls also under it being things we've already talked about. Any other final things that got missed out, things that need to be on here? Okay, can I ask, are we going to vote on the motion to approve now? Because I think we can just do a motion to approve it right now without that.
Without what?
Without needing to vote to hold a vote.
We don't need it. The motion wasn't a motion to hold a vote. The motion was just to approve it.
I move that we approve.
Okay.
I second.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why are we in such a rush right now to do this? I mean, I know it's 9:30, so I guess technically it's too late to talk about the mental health thing. So now we gotta wait till after August and September, when mental health is something we should discuss and not procrastinate any longer on. I mean, so if
Commissioner
we're
Garrett Pinguelo, is
Yes.
there a point, or are you making this meeting take longer by complaining that it won't take longer? I will take a motion to extend the meeting now because it is 9:30.
Yeah, let's make a motion to extend the meeting till
Is there a second?
Till when?
Okay,
till 9:45.
A second.
all right. Laura, call the vote on extending the meeting till 9:45, please.
Commissioner Bainan,
Yes.
Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Grossman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cannoli,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsay,
Yes.
Commissioner Zapata,
Yes.
Tradastio.
And now I will call the motion on approving the work plan.
No, I'd like to
As-
discuss a little more.
We're calling the motion to approve it, which has been made twice.
I had a motion by Grossman, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is there a second?
there was a second by Zapata.
I seconded it.
Got it. All right, we're ready to vote. Commissioner Bainan,
Yes.
Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo,
No.
Commissioner Grossman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cannoli,
I'm sorry. What are we voting on?
and approving.
Approving the work plan.
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Lindsay,
Yes.
Commissioner Zapata,
Yes.
Tradastio.
Yes, motion passes. The work plan is approved. That ends 6-1. We have 6-2 and 6-3, and we've extended the meeting until 9:45. I'll hear any motions to postpone, or I see Commissioner Grossman and then Lindsay.
Am I up? I suggest we do mental health now and deal with aging because it's a new issue and it's bigger.
Okay, Commissioner Lindsay.
Just a point of information is that we're putting in a work plan request to the council, and the council can change it at their discretion.
Right.
So just so people understand that and they don't get mad if council changes it, because there's a good chance they will. So
All
that's
right,
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start the mental health services discussion unless there is a motion to end the meeting now.
Let's start the discussion.
Okay, so we had a presentation by Alameda County Behavioral Health to City Council 2 weeks ago, and we don't have attachments to the agenda, but I know that at least Commissioner Grossman attended. I wasn't able to. But Commissioner Grossman, you wanted this item on the agenda as well, so
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, well, council obviously lacked background on the Mental Health Services Act, which is why I sent you that little piece so that you would understand what that is. Funding for Albany has probably been included in the county allocation insofar as the numbers were counted there. And I guess the county has used that money to pay for some of the services that people in Albany were getting. So I don't think we get anywhere trying to go backwards. I wanted to make the point, first of all, that we're not just looking at questions of losing Berkeley Mobile Crisis. We are potentially losing the funding for the school program and for the CARES program, because those are in innovation grants, and it's not clear to me what we get from Alameda County in terms of innovation grants. It was very clear on mobile crisis that's what's being offered to us is inadequate. It was admitted that there's one team that's available because the two teams, the first one is priority for Oakland, and that absorbs all of their time. And so at least half of the time when we request mobile crisis, they're not going to come. So this is a significant problem. And it's also a significant problem that there are no funded agencies in Albany. So even if there's funding, there's no one to take it. So I think, I thought the council backed off. First of all, I thought it was odd that they just had a presentation on mobile crisis. We really need a presentation on Alameda County mental health and what it does and what we're entitled to and how we access it. So I thought the council surrendered too quickly. And I would like to push the issue further. I would like to see a presentation from the county on what services are available for Albany and how they're going to be accessible. And also what they're going to do about the fact that they have a mobile crisis team, which is not a mobile team and isn't crisis. So I want us to keep this on the agenda. I want us to continue to work on it and push council to not settle for whatever this decision was made. Thank you.
Right. And maybe we'll make a recommendation, some kind of thing to actually push council after I finish discussing. Commissioner Zapata.
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner Grossman, for making sure this gets on the agenda. I think I just wanted to add that I think it's important that we have some data and that for example, learning about what sort of services are being accessed by Albany residents, so that we have perhaps some data to work with. I'm wondering if there's a way that 5150s are tracked, for example, if they are collecting data on responses to crises in the city of Albany. And so I'm not exactly sure, outside of those two questions, Additionally, what sort of services are being provided through these organizations? So some data in terms of where we're at right now, in addition to what Commissioner Grossman said, would be appreciated.
And I think your hand is still up, Commissioner Grossman, so I'm gonna, Commissioner Garrett Pinguello.
Yeah, hi, it's Jeremiah here. I was wondering, since it was a city council meeting, I watched it as well. And city council is trying to approve $40,000, or they did approve $40,000 for Berkeley Mental Health for the crisis unit. So there's only one crisis unit now. And if that crisis unit is responding to a mental health crisis in Piedmont, you know, how are they supposed to respond to Albany with only one, right? Also, the hours of operation for Berkeley Mental Health crisis unit is, what was it, 10:30 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. till 10 p.m. And it's not even a 24-hour service. And I said public comment during the city council meeting, and I said, you know, mental health crisis happen 24 hours a day, not just between the hours of, 9 to 5. So we need to get a program towards 24 hours. You know, maybe we need Albany mental health services. We outsource to Berkeley for everything. It's about time Albany takes care of ourselves. That way we could work better and make a better change. So I don't know what's going on with this whole mental health thing. But I do have one thing to say regarding my mental health. I would appreciate it during these meetings if the chair could possibly speak to me a little nicer without so much, I don't know what word to say behind it. I mean, I'm an adult, I'm 37 years old, and I just don't appreciate how you talk to me in this meeting. I do have ADD, and I was in special ed classes all through Albany High School. So I appreciate it cutting me some slack, and I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to make a difference in Albany, and I would appreciate some support, possibly, instead of everybody trying to make me look like the bad guy. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I will respond directly to that and say that I try very hard to be patient. I am autistic. I get overwhelmed, especially by repeated negative comments about other people, and then saying that you should not be responded to in any negative fashion. And I think that is unfair. And as an autistic person, I have a very strong sense of fairness. So I will continue to try to be patient, Jeremiah, but you have been testing my patience, and it is showing. Commissioner Grossman.
That's what I'm talking about. Comments like, I've been testing your patience and it's showing. Just extra things like that just really don't need to be said.
You have not been called on, and I am the chair, and I'm calling you back to order, and you cannot speak right now. Thank you, Commissioner Grossman.
I just wanted to say that the council did not assign any money to Berkeley Mental Health. That didn't happen, and it's clearly not going to happen. So I just want to correct that.
Thank you.
Okay, there were talks for to discredit my information.
Okay. I will remind commissioners to please raise your hand and wait to be called on before speaking. Thank you. Anything else about mental health services discussion? And do we want to recommend to make a motion to recommend to council that they look for data, that they direct staff to secure any data that there is available, whether that's through the county or through Berkeley, and to look into an Alameda mental health presentation that is not limited to mobile crisis, because I've picked that up from Commissioner Grossman. Commissioner Grossman, go ahead.
I don't think we're quite ready to make a recommendation to council yet. I'd like to get that presentation from the county here. We can do that on our own. We have a right to do that. We don't need council's permission to ask somebody to speak.
Commissioner Zapata.
I also think that there are community members that have some knowledge about this, and I think it really deserves some time in SEJC. Yeah, so appreciate. I know tonight was very full, and I think we got some very important work done, but I do think that this should be kind of the centerpiece of I mean, we say this every time, but I do believe now that we've got the work plan that that this is a really critical piece. I hope it's on the work plan.
Mental health services are on.
It's
Okay,
there.
cool.
Yeah. Yep. Commissioner Lindsay.
I think that it might make sense, and I don't know if we can do it tonight. We might be able to establish a mental health subcommittee, so that they could start doing some work this month and come back to us with a report next month or something like that. Bart, does that interest you? Do you think that would be useful or not?
I think that we need a presentation and a discussion and an opportunity to hear from the public before we go off and work on our own.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea, but I think it's a little bit premature.
Okay.
Okay. And speaking of, I know we have one attendee, but if there's public comment, please do raise your hand and we will get you in. And we're at 9:44 out of 9:45, but I do think we're going to continue this discussion. Commissioner Lindsay?
I was just going to move to adjourn.
Yeah.
I was going to motion to extend the meeting for 5 minutes to hear public comment.
There's no public comment.
There is no public comment. Having invited it, there was no hand raised. And we do, your motion to adjourn allows time for future agenda items or just?
I'll withdraw it. Sorry. Motion withdrawn. Yeah, my bad.
Okay. But I'll take the motion to extend for 5 minutes from Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo for the sake of future agenda items. Is there a second? Okay. Vote please, Laura.
Commissioner Bainan.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Commissioner Grossman.
Yes.
Commissioner Cannoli.
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Yes.
Commissioner Zapata.
You're muted.
Yes.
And Chair Dawson.
Yes. Okay, future agenda items. I've already got mental health again, but like a bigger discussion. Discussing a recommendation of increased CARES services funding, all of that stuff. And a presentation from Berkeley Food and Housing Project on how they're funded and what they do with referrals. So I have those as future agenda items.
And aging in place you have already.
Yes, will be continued. Yes. Commissioner Garrett Pinguelo, your hand was up first.
Thank you. You know, I have an idea. I would just want a future agenda item for shower program and a laundry program, because my goal in this community is to work together to make a bigger difference. So if we could discuss shower program and laundry program, because I think it would be great to where if I could do a laundry program and shower program, and then Doc could do a laundry program and shower program, that way we're not fighting against each other. We're just offering more resources. You know, maybe I could do the laundry program on one day and they could do the laundry program on one day. So that way it's twice a week instead of once a week. And then I could do my shower program on certain days or something. And then Doc could do their shower program on a certain day. That way there's showers available more than just once a week. So I'm just trying to figure out a solution to where we can work together on this instead of, kind of like competition with each other. I just wish, so that could be a good future agenda item, is to discuss shower program and laundry programs, plural, shower programs and laundry programs. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Zapata.
Just a brief comment that I guess I just want to go on the record of, I personally am not very interested in having a conversation about increasing FTE and funding for Albany Cares personally, because given the numbers, and if you look up the salary that, and I didn't want to bring this up, but I do think that given the incredible amount of priorities that we have and have been talking about, and funding is so critical, I just don't think that, I need to say this, that's all.
Thanks. Any other future agenda items? For or against? Okay. And then do we have a motion to adjourn? I just adjourned, I think, actually.
Yeah, we could just.
Thank you. Our next meeting is Wednesday, September 1st at 7 p.m. because of the August recess, and we are adjourned. See you then. Thank you.
Bye.